Welcome everyone, it's Evelyn from Twin Flames 3344. I have a divine masculine and feminine union read for the Twin Flames. For those of you not familiar with my setup or my read right here, it is the underlying energies, which I've taken the top card there. The underlying energy is the Ascension card. This is the SIRIAN Starseed deck. And the summary card at the end is the indigo here, okay? And that's like the Magician card. I have the feminine energies coming in here, 3 cards. The masculine energies going out, 3 cards. 3D across, 4D, 5D across, and then the feminines on the left, masculines on the right, and the bridge between them is in the middle. So before I did this read this morning, I actually stayed in bed this morning to meditate. I went to Akashics to see what might be coming up today, and I also was trying to get more imagery from some guides and actually God as well. So it was very interesting what came up, and it did parallel with some of the information coming through in the read today. So in Akashics, I was getting the Tigris River, and that came up recently as the, right, because the Y in the road of the Tigris River and the, is it the Euphrates, I believe? And then we have the second Akashic that was coming up was like a hoe and the weed. So that there's 2 references there, right? Because that could literally be a hoe that you weed with. That was coming up, so being in the fields, but there's also a reference to someone working in the fields and being referenced as a whore, okay? So the whore and the fields, and that can weed can reference, you know, drugs as well. So there's a double reference there. And then when I was seeing, trying to visualize what I was getting for some of my guides, and for me, my main reference, it's interesting, from the beginning of my journey, I had been connected to Mary Magdalene since from myself and from my first read that I had channeled from Saint Germain, both indicating that Mary Magdalene was one of my main connections, including Lord Sirius. But I've never been able to see Mary Magdalene, which is funny because I've always been able to see Jesus, and Sophia always comes through to me as a huge eye, really a beautiful, beautiful eye. She's like, it's kind of like East Indian energy that I get from Sophia. But so this morning I was intent on getting a visual, whether it's just energy or whatever comes through, of Mary Magdalene for me. And what came through was the deer, or the doe, which is very interesting because I just did a card with deer in it, which I think I told you about. And I was also trying to get a visual of Creator, Source, God. So I kept seeing dark eyes, just like you would imagine an E.T.'s big eyes would be, but they were very dark. And I kept seeing the dark eyes. And then at times I would see like that elephant type nose, like this is a gift my daughter brought me from Fiji. So, but this elephant kind of nose was coming in. And then also very similar to this energy. And it's interesting because some other stuff came up about wings. I'm going to have to get into that. It's a whole nother thing that came up. So I saw the elephant type nose, and that's what took me to those figures. It was showing me to reference the figures that Jenna had given me. And then I was also getting a heart-shaped head, and it was bringing me to E.T., like the character E.T. very much. And then after I was getting that visual, so the dark eyes, similar to this stature, right, like E.T., and for E.T. it was very much like the shape of the head because it was kind of like a heart-shaped head. And then Julie Andrews and The Sound of Music was coming in, and it was just, that's when the high energy started coming through. So for those of you not familiar with The Sound of Music, because you're a lot younger than when that was put out, the music is Rodgers and Hammerstein 2, based on the memoir about Marie von Trapp and the Trapp family singers. And the first thing that came through was, and this is from imdb.com and also en.wikipedia.org, the hills are alive with the sound of music, with songs they've sung for 1,000 years. If you can think of the song, the hills fill my heart with the sound of music. And then the last line that came up here was, my heart wants to sing every song it hears, which was so parallels for me. It's paralyzing too. When I was in the south of France, we did a walk up the mountain of Osiris, and we did a group thing where we just did a song with our hands joined around a tree, and we were each to join in and then just hold it as long as we could and then let go. And I was still singing, thinking that everybody else was still singing, and I literally heard the mountain come in as well. And when I opened my eyes, everybody was staring at me because they had all stopped already, and nobody heard the mountain except for me. So this is literally relating to that sound of music from the mountains. And so then it took me to the do re mi thing, right? So the movie was 1965 with director Robert Wise, and then that's from the stage musical, which was in 59. And of course, all of you know do re mi fa sol la ti do. And the way it came up in the lyrics was first just the do re mi. Do, a deer, which was Mary Magdalene, just came up to me as a deer. And then a female deer. Re, a drop of golden sun, which is referencing the Christ energy. And then the me, my name, I call myself. It's literally God saying, I call myself me, because you are me. So that was very cool, because they only brought up the first 3 notes, which is then the Trinity, and then the rest of the scale. So fa, a longer way to run, right? From heaven to earth and back is a long way to run. So all of this comes up in my read with this, so I'm going to let it go for now because it'll come up again here. Let's see here. And in the lyrics that I had pulled up, and I think that was from the imdb.com, the song then goes, because she's working with the children, and they go do mi mi so so, re fa fa, la ti ti. And what was I was referencing something around that. Now I'm blanking out on it. Oh, I was getting from that the skipping of the notes, like the energy loops, that was coming up for me. And then back to the do re mi. So the do is a deer, the re is the sun, the golden sun, the Christ. The me is God, me, my name, I call myself. Fa, a longer way to run, above and below. So a needle pulling thread was coming up as Excalibur, and the thread of the grid and the web that connects us. And then the la, which they were referencing LA, because that's the city of angels, a note, right, where you sing and perform and do all those creative things. And then tea, a drink with jam and bread, right, to use natural herbs and not to use artificial things, right, in your body. That will bring us back to the doe or the deer, all right? And so that was really beautiful the way that came up. So this union read was at 10:37, and I just want to clear a little bit for you too. And today is April 28th, 2020. It's the 28 of the Two of Wands, which is the choice and path, being at the Y in the road, as well as it's a different Y in the road than the 5 of Cups, which is more about grieving. This is also the twin flames, the Two of Wands, and the day adds up to 36-9, which is the 10 of Wands. So carrying the weight of the world upon your shoulders, that can be that Atlas energy, as well as dropping those burdens. So choosing that path, whether to carry those burdens or to let them go, or to lighten the load. So, again, it's all wand energy. And it's a little bit more burdensome today because you have to choose the path today, and it may feel like a heavy load to carry. So, we start with the underlying energy, which is the Ascension card here, holding the world in your right hand. Okay, and then going to the center card, which is the 7 of Cups. And there's the 7 of Cups, okay, ascending to heaven. Okay, so starting this out, ascending to heaven, 7 steps by 2s, then 3s, and then 5, and then infinity and beyond. with the infinity symbol, which is the 8 on its side, with the world in right hand, with a variety of crystal cups and steps, accordion energy loops. So the accordion comes up from the sound of music as well. The accordion, so think of an accordion, how it squeezes together and pulls out. It creates suction or vacuum. The accordion energy loops, breathing energy loops, contracting and expanding, and threaded pearls like popcorn or lights around the Christmas tree in loops around a tree, or in other words, a round pyramid, a cone, like cones and rods of the eye, receiving the light keys. The rod is the straight piece, the cone is the more expanded, like a cone, in the eye, but the rod is more gray and the cones are in color. They also have, this is, the light has to pass through ganglion cells, right? Ganglion cells, ganglion cells, right? The defense. You have to get past the gang first and the lion, and bipolar cells in order to get to the keys, to the rod and the cone. The keys are well protected, also with the receptors and synapses. So we have the synapses, which is the eye, the synapses, which is like the quarterback, right, who throws the ball and then has to get to the receptors, the receiver, in order to get to the rods and cones, okay? So the eye is also shaped like an angelfish. And the synapse, which is quoted as far as how it sounds, S-I-N, and then apps, like a computer app. So the sin of the application of the synapse equals a junction between two nerve cells consisting of a minute gap or a minute gap, right? It's a very quick travel, like there's no time, it's no time at all, really, because there's no time there, consisting of a minute gap across which impulses pass by diffusion of a neurotransmitter. So in other words, the pass between the quarterback and the receiver, the quantum leap, the space between, a snap, two separate parts connecting. All right, so this is literally the parts of the eye, the synapse, which is a piece that jumps to the receptor, which then feeds the light into the cones and rods. So ascending through the third and fourth eyes was coming up here, and then the eyes of Laura Mars was coming up. So 11 o'clock, and that's justice with a lot of source backed up behind it, is the underlying divine feminine. We have the Page of Cups, the Ten of Pentacles, and the Starseed. So these first three cards coming in here. Cracking her heart wide open to abundance, to the abundant crystal family with big download and upgrade and innocent love to family of dreams, playing big, not small, receiving pass from the divine masculine, gliding into the new moon in Taurus on ocean of emotion in the 5D from his subconscious, directly into her crown, codes from the dark side of the moon, or in other words, his karmic wounds coming in from the 5D. So he's really opening up in the 5D now, and he's passing downloads to the divine feminine. So in the 3D, we have the King of Wands, the Ace of Swords, and the Page of Pentacles down here, right? The King of Wands shaman, the dolphin in the water with the Ace of Swords, and then the Seeker of Crystals, which is the Page of Pentacles. So the Divine Feminine Master, I'm sorry if there's any noise in the background. My son's making himself something for lunch. But the Divine Feminine Master of Passions as the shaman, leaning on the stone, hinged on sun and rising signs, the sunlight leaps to the clouds with messages to convey, and through precipitation they are conveyed. So we get codes as well through the rain. Back to Gaia and humans, singing in the rain, and Rain Man. Those with autism, or what you call autism, quote unquote, may have messages to bring. The Divine Masculine steps up to the plate, seeking his abilities. The bridge via the Ace of Orbs, the dolphin wisdom, laying just beneath the surface, laying in wait below the ball or the buoy, hiding behind the eye, and I keep slightly losing my voice as I'm going through this, hiding behind the eye and sinuses in a watery, fluid place, conducive to conduction, pass and receiver, the conductor in the orchestra, the place of receptivity where you allow and flow, get or gel and chill. And then pop goes the weasel came up. Like ultrasound gets you into the body, as I always bring that up related to water, fluid, emotions, feelings, and meditation, allowing, gets you across the dimensional barrier, the glass ceiling, so to speak. To live as a human, you must drink, take in the feelings, breathe, connect the dots, ground for your resources, and desire and expand to grow. Cool with the earth and water, heat up with the fire and air, contract and expand, breathing, drinking, resting, and being. In the 4D, which is the 4 of Cups, 7 of Cups, and 9 of Wands, here in the middle. 4 of Cups, 7 of Cups, and the 9 of Wands. The Divine Feminine is grounding and integrating her emotions to connect with the stars, the mothership. When waves get rough, bring in desire. Heat to bring back to balance, or in other words, inspiration. The Divine Masculine wounded warrior is depleted of those energies and needs to rest after too much fire and air, too much doing. Ground, drink, and emote and feel. Pull back, contract within. Bridge by the 7-step program of Ascension. Remember, the heart's always in the middle at the bridge. As the 3D Divine Masculine is climbing the circular stairs or energy loops to bring what he's learned from the 3D into the E-Tower of the Divine Feminine's heart in the 5D, heaven for delivery. And then I was getting a reference too to, there's a cathedral near me called Bryn Athens Cathedral, and I met my friend there on the front lawn on a towel. I don't know if it was last year or the year before. So the picture I was getting was paralleling exactly that. So ascending a few steps at a time with rest between at 11:33 to 34, which is the, that's funny, that's what people think Jesus' age was when he died, 33 to 34. So justice and the Christ vibration, standing up for yourself, and then the 34 of that energy exchange of the arrows of love and expressing your feelings. As we turn the page, we're at 11:34. So it's the same, ascending a few steps at a time with rest between. It's the same for weaning off things a little bit at a time. The 5D is the 7 of Pentacles, Shadow, and Luna at the top. This is the Divine Feminine's heart in the E-Tower, which I'll give you a peek of that one. All right, so that's the 7 of Crystals or Pentacles, but this is the one that's the Divine Feminine's heart. So this could be the masculine sitting outside the Divine Feminine's heart in the E-Tower, like Rapunzel in the tower, who's allowing some people in. Okay. So the Divine Feminine in her heart at the E-Tower, allowing in a few at a time. The Divine Masculine, Luna, or the moon, deep into his subconscious, digging deep into his emotions, smooth at the moment, and bridging by the shadow web, the grid, me and my shadow, a powwow of sorts in the 5D, hanging in a hammock together, looking at the stars between the masculine and the feminine. The Divine Feminine here is the King of Wands, deserty. The shaman energy there is very deserty and dry, right? So he craves water, but too much water can drown you in emotions. So back to E-Tower, into her heart in the 5D. The Divine Masculine is the Page of Pentacles in the 3D, the student of manifestation. Struggles to learn in 4D, becomes the wounded warrior, giving up, running out of energy, and must fill up the gas tank of water, diving deep into 5D. So there's very much a play, a dance here between the water and the dry energies, right? Going from the 3D to 5D and back and forth between the masculine and the feminine. So basically it was saying when you're tired, emote and rest. When you're emotional, be and do. When you're on fire too much, cool down on the ground with water and emotions and get rid of the banky. And that's anything that makes you feel safe, right? Get rid of the banky. When you're frozen or cold, take a walk or read a good book. Get inspired. Grab a warm blanket or a warm person to cuddle with. The bridge here is the Ace of Swords, the 7 of Cups, and the Shadow. With dolphin sounds, music of the spheres, see what lies just beneath the surface in 3D. In the 4D, climb the stairs into the portal of the dark side of the 5D shadow work. Ascend a bit at a time, which then accelerates the higher you go. 2, the outgoing Divine Masculine, the Queen of Swords, the 8 of Swords, and the King of Swords. So there's a lot of Swords energy there. However, it's the King and Queen of Swords with fear, anxiety, hiding between them. Okay, so the King and Queen of Swords hiding out together, which leads to the end here with Diamond Crystalline Proposal of the Indigo up top there, the last card. And then going back and forth between the feminine and masculine cards, right? So the Page of Cups to the Queen of Swords and the 10 of Pentacles to the 8 of Swords and then the Starseed to the King of Swords leads to the end, like I told you, and then open, pure heart of that Page of Cups going towards the Queen of Swords, so her open heart becoming the Queen of Swords, and then the families and business and communities feeling imprisoned, anxiety, fear, Von Trapp. So some feeling trapped, like the Von Trapp family. The Starseeds with a fresh start to the King of Swords, mastering their thoughts, their fear, bridges, the Queen of Swords and the King of Swords to Indigo Proposal and Diamond Light. So it's very much a dance between the twins, transmuting the fear between not only them, but then there's other people that come between them and they transmute these energy. That's the dance. So once they're together, they're still transmuting this fear and anxiety energies that come between them, whether it's people they meet or work with or children, whatever it is. They are always doing the dance between each other to transmute the energy in between. So the number grid that I did for this read comes out with the number 46, which is the children in the garden, the 6 of Cups. Very beautiful. The horizontal grid was coming up with the Chariot, Judgment, and the Sun, which is ascending to judgment in the sun, or of the sun, however you perceive judgment when you ascend. But it really has to do with hearing the call to action, right? The Chariot ascending in the call to action in the sun, right? Being in the sun, fully exposed and fully energized. And then the vertical axes were coming up with the Wheel, Justice, Strength, or the Dance, because that's number 8, and then the Hermit and Dance again. So Destined, Truth, and Balance, Dance, Hermit, Dance. And that's the space between, the 8 and the 8, the 8 and the 8, and the space between, that quantum leap to transmute. All right, so again, the dance between the twins transmutes the fear between, however that fear displays itself. So that is the read for today. I'll give you a quick energy card. So let's see what the energy deck comes up with. Transmute, transform, transcend, and clear, and fill with only beautiful divine love and diamond crystalline light. And so it is. All right, so what is our energy read for the day? What do we need to know? What's our takeaway from this read? Take a deep breath. Oh, a whole bunch of cards just came out. Well, I'm going to give them to you. I'll give them all to you. The bottom of the deck, again, is the Thinking Man. He keeps coming up over and over again. So again, it's the 46, which just came up for the read, the Children in the Garden, the 6 of Cups, right? Learning how to play again. The Thinking Man, using your thoughts to become inspired. So all these cards came up together. We have the garden and the gate. Don't be afraid to go outside. This is the fear between, right? The little girl who's afraid to go outside. The 30 of the union, the home, the safe place. Remember when I said to get rid of the blankie? Don't be afraid. And then the 23 of the feeling all tied up. 23 is the King of Wands. So that's the masculine energy. But also the Man of Passion has to do with being inspired. So when you are feeling trapped, make a game out of it. Make it something that's more fun or inspiring to play. And then we have the Sun of the One and the Magician, right? The Sun and the Central Sun. The eclipse of the Sun and the Central Sun was coming up yesterday. But this is going out in the sun. I was just out in the sun a little while ago, right? To commune with nature and get some rays and codes from the sun. And make sure you get enough water as well, okay, when you're getting all heated up. And then we have the fish displayed here too, because the eye is literally shaped like an angelfish. So here again is the bridge, the rainbow bridge across, which came up as the cones, right? The rods were the gray, the cones were the color, and the bridge of the light, you know, bringing the light across the bridge from the 5D, grounding it into the 3D and up and back again, okay? So the journey is number 2 is the High Priestess, learning how to meditate and connect with the outer realms. And then the door to romance is 33, which is the Christ vibration, the 7 of Wands, standing up for yourself without being triggered. The key to your heart, the key to romance is not being caged in, right? Letting yourself out of the cage. Again, referencing the 8 of Swords here. So learning how to play again, right? So learning how to play again, not being the shy kid on the block, not willing to go out of your gate to play with the other kids. See the butterflies trying to lead her out? Come on and play. But she's afraid. So let's play hide and seek, right? So she doesn't have to be trapped at all. Maybe they're just playing a game. This could be a friend coming over saying, come and play hide and seek with me. Don't be afraid. Someone who has passion, and this person's feeling safe and grounded in the home. Come out and play in the sun, or come over and swim in my pool. Or come take a walk and we'll go explore across the bridge. I have this really cool bridge that goes across the creek down the street, right? You never know where we might end up. Come on, let's have fun, right? So freeing yourself from the cage is the key to the heart, the key to romance, the 33, standing up for yourself, but not being defensive about it, all right? Saying what you will and won't do, but not being triggered about it, and the need to walk away when you are, okay? All right, guys, I hope that was helpful for you. I like that one a lot. So make sure you get your water, all right, after we just talked about how important water is, your joy, right, your sleep, your rest, your nature, and make sure to take advantage of these times when you can be home if you're home, to get the sun that you're always complaining about that you never get when you are stuck at work, right? So make sure you have gratitude today. Rise and be loved, guys. Bye.